was going to happen, that it was inevitable. Well, that's the situation that people in the Bay Area find themselves in tonight with the death of Jerry Jensen. Cancer cut him down in the prime of his life and the peak of his career. Joyce Schenk is here now to help us pay tribute. Joyce?
Jerry Jensen's doctors said that he'd rarely seen a person accept his fate with such realism, and I might add dignity. Jerry Jensen, I had the pleasure of working with him for 5 years through funny stories, heavy stories, and I can't help but think even now that he's gone, that he'd want to smile because he had such a good life.
Next, Jerry the Voice Jensen. Take off the glasses, Jerry. Says here you publicly boast membership on the best news team in town.
Why not? What's wrong with that?
That voice, that's him.
And we all knew that voice, that face, that dry wit, that sheer pro in Jerry Jensen that enabled him to share with you the funny as well as the tragic events that march their way through the news business every day.
It's hard to believe that he's not going to be coming walking into this newsroom again.
Jerry sat here day in and day out, but behind his on-air, behind the anchor desk eloquence, was the Jerry who must have gone through hundreds of pounds of newswire in his 15 years here. He got used to the clamoring telephones, the police radios, the hectic pace of breaking stories, but he never cultivated cynicism. He always, and he'd probably smile at me for being so corny, but he always saw the bright side.
That he always looked at me like I was putting him on, and he had a great way of looking at me to make me feel a little bit foolish when I was trying to be serious. And I think that was the quality that came through. He could make you be yourself, and even when I was trying to be a big shot.
He had the ability to look at a story, read down 3 or 4 paragraphs into it, and say, this is what this story is about.
Today at 6 o'clock, Jerry Jensen's name was on the wire copy he'd ripped and read so many times. The newsroom was numbed and gathered around the TV set.
Memorial services will be private, but there is a scholarship fund.
We all knew for quite some time that he was sick, but and we expected this to happen. Of course, Jerry gave us that letter, but when it happens, it somehow it doesn't seem real until you get the word. And
Jerry Jensen managed to survive and thrive in a tough business. He climbed to the top in his profession, and he never left the top. And he never forgot the little guy, the regular folks to whom he was truly dedicated.
Well, I liked the way he presented himself in the news, and I liked the way he looked. I thought he looked like a good, healthy fellow. I was really shocked when he died, you know. You know, when I found out he said he had cancer of the pancreas, it was a real shock. I felt bad.
Many people will miss Jerry, but at least we got to know him.
Yeah, that's the best part, isn't it? We did get to know him.
You bet.
Just a paying job. For Jerry, that came in 1957. It was a commercial for Chevrolet.
Hi, I'm Jerry Jensen speaking for Chase Chevrolet Stockton and promising you the best deal you ever made on a brand new Chevy or any used car that you choose from Chase Chevrolet Stockton. Chase Chevrolet has raised, stretched, and broken all normal records for high trade-in allowances given on brand new 1957 Chevys.
Great to have that videotape, isn't it? He came a long way in his career as a newscaster, and one of the things that Jerry Jensen enjoyed most about this business was writing and delivering the kickers, those upbeat, usually funny stories at the end of a newscast. Jerry had his own unique style, and the enjoyment Jerry got out of those kind of stories came through to the audience and to all of the people who worked with him.
The question is this, and it's simple. When is a bird not a bird? And the answer, when it's a blimp. And here's the story. The Southern California city of Redondo Beach has been trying for weeks now to cash in on the Summer Olympics next year, and they may have the answer by a vote of 4-1. The city council down there voted to adopt an official city bird, and the bird they chose was the Goodyear blimp. Until now, Redondo Beach had no official bird, but until now, not too many people flocked to Redondo Beach as their prime vacation spot. The city council down there joined with the Goodyear company and hoping that the great silver-crested Redondo blimp is going to create such a stir, it'll draw people from the Olympics like a magnet.
Jerry's family and friends have arranged for a scholarship fund to be set up in his name at Stanford University. The address, if you'd like to contribute, is the Jerry Jensen Scholarship Fund, 24 California Street, Suite 700, San Francisco, and the zip code is 94111. And we'll be back with more news tonight in just a moment. Jerry Jensen was a word. He was a sensitive and caring man, and he was a hell of a good guy, good friend. For 10 years, he and Van Amberg were the tops in Bay Area TV news, and fittingly, tonight, Van remembers.
Jerry Jensen was born in the Panama Canal Zone. His father was a naval officer. He went to school in Hawaii and got his first radio job there when he was 15 years old. He also went to school and worked in Colorado and Alaska. The Jensen family came to the Bay Area in 1955, and Jerry graduated from San Jose State and got his master's degree in broadcast communication from San Francisco State. He went to work for KGO Radio as a staff announcer in 1958, then left to spend a year traveling in Europe. And when he came back in 1959, he went to work for Channel 4 and anchored the news there for 8 years. And in 1969, he joined Channel 7 as a reporter anchor. He won a lot of awards, including his favorite, the San Francisco State Broadcast Preceptor Award in 1971, but he always said he didn't have to win awards to be happy. Being in the business of communication and getting paid for it was his reward. Jerry was both a digging competitor and a gracious co-worker. And an early promotional film Channel 7 put together for Jerry summed him up for his television friends very well.
I've watched you for years. I feel like we've grown up together.
It's nice to know Jerry Jensen.
I remember the night a killer called Jerry, and after many hours, Jerry talked him into giving himself up. And the time he helped a young runaway get home. And the night he made a killing on the London gold market using his home computer in the wee small hours of the morning. How he always liked to mangle Jim Solania's sports leads. How Peter Giddings always talked him into buying those new intricate watches. His boat on the bay and the sailing and scuba diving he loved so much. He was young in years. He had a zest for living them all. If he could be remembered for any one thing, it would be that he was a pro. He could do it all well. He could do everything required of a professional journalist. Research, investigate, write, report. But most of all, he was an intellectual stimulus, and the one thing we all hold in high regard, a storyteller. He had a biting wit that could be both sensitive and sardonic, and he always set us up for his closing story. He really liked to write and tell them most of all. And for 14 years, we'd all sit back and listen to what he'd come up with this time.
Wheaties, of course, is the breakfast of champions. Everybody knows that. We've all grown up seeing the patriotic cereal box with pictures of real heroes urging a nation of youngsters to follow their examples. Well, if the people of Prairie du Sac, Wisconsin have their way, the new Wheaties box will include a picture of their favorite heroine. Here she is, 38-year-old Kay Hankins. She's the champion cow chip chucker in that part of the Great Plains. A 6-time champion of the Wisconsin cow pie tossing contest, 4 times Grand National winner. Ms. Hankins talked with reporters after carefully washing her hands in the whole matter. She said that she wouldn't mind carrying the Wheaties banner for the sport she loves.
After all, a lot of the ingredients.
Listen, it's the sport of choice back there.
That's true.
We're very sorry that Jerry Jensen isn't with us anymore. Like all the stories he reported, his life had a beginning, a middle, and now an end. But because he was here, and because of what he did, we will always very respectfully remember the man we call JJ.